Bonjour. Long live the Indo-French relationship.
Modi-Macron bilateral and Waugh. H-125 helicopter line inaugurated. India-France AI axis emerges.
इंडो-फ्रेंच सेंटर फॉर एआई इन हेल्थ, और यह मात्र इंस्टीट्यूशंस नहीं है, ये फ्यूचर बिल्डिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स है।
Defense cooperation expands.
चाहे राफाल हो, चाहे सबमरीन्स हो, ऐसे कई जो क्षेत्र है जहां पर हम मिलकर भारत के साथ काम कर रहे हैं।
Rafale to submarines partnership. Multipolar world message.
ये पार्टनरशिप केवल स्ट्रेटेजिक नहीं है। आज के उथल-पुथल से भरे युग में यह ग्लोबल स्टेबिलिटी और ग्लोबल प्रोग्रेस की पार्टनरशिप है।
हेजेमनी ना हो किसी, और हम पूरी तरह से कानून में, रूल ऑफ लॉ में विश्वास करते हैं।
Hugs and handshakes to counter hegemony.
Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast that comes to you from Maximum City, Mumbai. We are at the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus in Mumbai. I'm Gaurav Sawant, and over the course of the next half hour, we will talk about the India-France partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi described the India-France partnership as a force for global stability in a world that's full of turmoil and churn. There was conversation around the H-125 helicopters. Now, why is this a game changer? Remember, India is the only country in the world that has a battlefield at ultra-high altitudes. Siachen, for example, you have your soldiers deployed at 22,000 feet altitude, and there's no helicopter in the world that can fly loads at that altitude. Of course, the Alouettes or the Cheetahs and the Chetaks, they've done so, but that's the skill of the Indian Air Force or Indian Army pilots. This H-125 will be an absolute game changer. The French president spoke of technology transfer when it comes to the Rafale fighter jets, of submarines, and also warships and other defense items. Now, what does this how does this translate into action on ground? An India-France strategic partnership, is this then the go-to force when it comes to aviation, aeronautics and partnership? India hedging when it comes to either Russia or the United States of America. We'll talk about this in greater detail, but first, our Mumbai and Delhi bureau bring you our top story.
My dear friend, President Macron, दोनों देशों के डेलीगेट्स, मीडिया के साथियों, नमस्कार। Bonjour.
Bonhomie strategy and a clear message to the world. The Modi-Macron meet in Mumbai signaled a partnership that goes beyond diplomacy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron came together to reaffirm ties, from artificial intelligence to advanced materials, from defense to digital science. They made it clear the ties are designed for the long haul and for global impact.
Indo-French Center for AI in Health, Indo-French Center for Digital Science and Technology, और नेशनल सेंटर ऑफ अलायंस फॉर स्किलिंग इन एरोनॉटिक्स लॉन्च करने जा रहे हैं, और यह मात्र इंस्टीट्यूशंस नहीं है, ये फ्यूचर बिल्डिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स है।
By jointly pressing the button.
A key symbol of that trust, the virtual inauguration of the Airbus H-125 helicopter assembly line at Waugh in Karnataka.
भारत और फ्रांस मिलकर माउंट एवरेस्ट की ऊंचाइयों तक उड़ान भरने वाला विश्व का एकमात्र हेलीकॉप्टर भारत में बनाएंगे, और ये पूरे विश्व को एक्सपोर्ट भी करेंगे। India-France partnership knows no boundaries.
Beyond manufacturing, the message was strategic. Both leaders spoke in one voice on democratic values, the rule of law, and multipolar world.
ये पार्टनरशिप केवल स्ट्रेटेजिक नहीं है। आज के उथल-पुथल से भरे युग में यह ग्लोबल स्टेबिलिटी और ग्लोबल प्रोग्रेस की पार्टनरशिप है।
हमने एक नए रास्ते, कई नए रास्ते चुने, जैसे कि तीसरा रास्ता जो हिंद प्रशांत क्षेत्र का हो या फिर तकनीक का हो या फिर, और जिसमें हम ऐसा रास्ता है जिसमें कोई भी हेजेमनी ना हो किसी, और हम पूरी तरह से कानून में, रूल ऑफ लॉ में विश्वास करते हैं।
From Rafale fighter jets to submarines, defense cooperation is expanding. Macron called India one of France's most trusted partners.
चाहे राफाल हो, चाहे सबमरीन्स हो, चाहे वो ये जो हेलीकॉप्टर्स के लिए जो फाइनल असेंबली लाइन जो टाटा एडवांस्ड कंपनी जो है वो मिलकर फ्रांस के साथ कर रही है। हम मिलकर भारत के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, जहाँ पर हम टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर में विश्वास करते हैं।
In the world facing uncertainty, conflict and power rivalry, the India-France partnership is projecting stability, balance and trust. Bureau Report, India Today.
A lot of what you see today was in the works when Ambassador Javed Ashraf was India's ambassador to France. He joins me for a one-on-one on this India Today special broadcast. Ambassador Ashraf, welcome. When the president of France says that France believes in technology transfer when it comes to the Rafales and the submarines and the fifth generation fighter jet engines, what do you make of the India-France relationship as it stands today when Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that there are no boundaries in this relationship? Is it finally coming of age and being acknowledged as such?
Well, Gaurav, thank you very much. And I know you're speaking from Mumbai. In a sense, this visit elevates the relationship to a new level, a culmination of a process that has been going on for some time. But let me start by saying that France has been a trusted, consistent, and a strong strategic partner for India for decades now. Remember that in 1998, after the nuclear test, that was the only Western country that maintained ties with India, in fact, started a strategic dialogue immediately, was one of the foremost drivers of India's reintegration into the nuclear order, been a consistent supporter in the UN Security Council, and has been a long-standing partner in defense, space, and civil nuclear energy. At a time when most Western countries shied away from being our partner. It is driven by a sense of strategic autonomy, which we share. And as you've seen that over the decades, we've had a number of platforms, but it is now aligning itself with India's priorities for Make in India, for design and development in India, for testing, qualification, and certification in India, because they understand that the underlying principle of strategic autonomy is sovereignty in defense and advanced technologies, particularly in the evolving geopolitical order, which is really something which we have seen is a new era that we are entering into, an uncertain one. And so I think in all these areas, what France is saying, and it has been saying this for some time, that it is prepared to work with us, not just simply in terms of manufacturing TOT of non-critical items, but a complete transfer of technology, and including in the design and development aspect, develops Indian supply chains, because it is important not just to focus on complete platforms, but on the developing a complete supply chain. And that is where you really get that sovereignty. We've seen that they have made that offer a number of times. In the case of aircraft engine, which is in fact a very advanced technology, they have been repeatedly stating in writing that they are prepared to work with us for the design development of a future fifth generation aircraft, including on teaching us the hot sections, which is the most critical part, on advanced materials, which is and castings
What
and
an
forgings,
interesting
and all
point.
these areas which are critically important for developing our capabilities.
Because
It's a reflection of great trust, but I would also say that it is a reflection of the times we are in, where this partnership is first being validated by the geopolitical developments, as both Europe and India are facing a moment of reckoning by major powers. We are entering a fragmented world of great power competition. Existing alliances are weakening or are shaken. New equations are being formed. All the underpinnings of the scaffolds of the geopolitical system are breaking apart. So this is era of multipolarity, backed by a sense of strategic autonomy and sovereignty. These are the principles on which this relationship stands, and I think it is now being backed by reinforced literally by EU-India partnership, which has now reached a completely new level just last January.
yes. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also described 2026 as the year of transformation of India-Europe relationship, India-France relationship. But, the fighter jet engine for decades has been India's Achilles heel, and especially certain components. Now, in your view, sir, since you worked on this very closely, so yes, India and France have had great, military-to-military cooperation from the 1950s, the era of Tufanis, 1960s, the era of the Mystiers, and then the Jaguars, the Elysees, the Mirages in the 1980s. But now, are we seriously talking about a second line coming up where fighter jet engines, fighter jets, the fuselage and avionics can be made in India? And what kind of time frame do you see for this, sir?
Well, I think we have been very clear that all our defense partnerships will no longer be about buyer-seller relationship. India wants sovereignty, IP ownership, and indigenous capabilities in defense industry. I mean, that's a given. We are doing what we can on our own, but when we are looking at foreign partnerships, we are testing a proposal not so much in terms of what price we are just getting it at, but what are the capabilities, but how much does it mean for developing long-term indigenous capabilities, and not just to manufacture or assemble as we have been doing, but to be able to continually upgrade it on the basis of our own strength. A model for that is the India-France cooperation for developing the space rocket engine, which Safran and ISRO did, which has given us the capacity to continue to evolve, develop it, and become completely sovereign and independent in this. That's what we expect out of this partnership. This is therefore when we start the process of negotiations. These are very early days, Gaurav. Acceptance of necessity is only a starting point. There is a whole lot of work to be done. And here, we would also like to get, not just in terms of manufacturing or assembling or developing the complete supply chain, but also integration of our own weapon systems, our own software, sensor fusion, our capacity to integrate the Rafale aircraft whenever that actually materializes into our complete and data and network-centric system. So we have a complete efficiency and effectiveness in our air power. There'll be a lot on the table at this point of time that will be negotiated and developed as we go along. So it isn't going to happen tomorrow. So the second thing that you must remember is that skilling of people, and that is where this thing about aeronautics skill development is such an important initiative. We need to develop the skills in India. It is a highly advanced skill that requires a lot of precision, zero tolerance for error, and the entire process is not going to happen overnight. When we talk 70% indigenization, for example, it will be a progressive effort as we develop capacities and supply chains. And this is going to be like a force multiplier if our vision actually translates into ground decisions and implementation. And the same applies to aircraft engine. Let me tell you, there are not too many companies in the world that are capable of actually having complete sovereignty in the design, development, and manufacturing of fighter jet engines of high thrust of 98, 100, 110, 120. And you require not just knowledge of engineering and design, but metallurgical knowledge also. And that is something which is of great value. And there are French companies. I was also involved in discussions with them. And I think we'll have to, because it's such an important deal that will, or an initiative that will mean something for us for decades ahead, it is important that, and I'm sure the government will negotiate it in a way that will give us what we want, not just in terms of immediate air power, but a future of aviation capacities that will be at par with the rest of the world, or it'll be leading.
But considering not many countries are willing to share the technology with India.
Sorry?
Go on, sir.
No. You just carry on with the question. I'll come back to it.
Go on. You wanted to add another point?
No, I just said, even this H-125 is a
not
beginning.
Many countries are willing to share that technology. Yes.
No,
Yes, that's the question I was coming to, because not many people realize those altitudes in India. I mean, the Siachen battlefield, for example. Yes, we've flown the Alouettes, again French helicopters, the Chetaks and the Cheetahs at 22,000 feet altitude, or in a rescue operation, even 23,000 feet altitude. But that's breaking all ceilings and risking the lives and limb of the pilots concerned. This is a helicopter, in your view, sir, would it be an absolute game changer? And if it's manufactured in India, we get the numbers that we need and then export to the world?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we have been talking to France about, especially in the context of even aircraft engine, is that the IP has to be ours, right? When we design and develop our project, we should not need licenses to integrate it into our exports. That is a given, and that is something that we will get. Now you come to this H-125, right? This is the first time that there is a final assembly line of a helicopter in India, other than that, which we do with HAL. Now you know that all HAL helicopters fly with Shakti engine, which is a French engine. All of them do. And that we are working on getting a complete transfer of technology. We already have 73% transfer of technology on Shakti engines, and we'll get that up to 100%. That's a given. Now with H-125 is the beginning of a process. Remember, this is to start with a final assembly line. We shouldn't be too satisfied with it. That once there is scale, and it is important that when we talk of indigenization, we must also back it up with scale. Otherwise, it will not be commercially viable. But I'm confident, and I worked on this, that H-125 will have that scale. So we will eventually, from final assembly line, we must get into the design and development and the complete supply chain. In addition to that, this will be set the stage for twin engine helicopters,
Absolutely.
Larger capacity. So we have an ecosystem. But hang on. Safran has already set up the MRO for the Shakti engines in Goa, but it's important that we also ensure that HAL's multi-role helicopter, which will be a 12-ton to 15-ton, a heavier helicopter, continues to make progress, and that we will work either with Airbus and to complete some aspects of design which we may not be capable of. But important that HAL and Safran have signed a joint venture to develop the engine for the IMRH, Indian Multi-Role Helicopter. So here you are looking at a ecosystem for helicopters, both for civilian needs, disaster management, remote area access, but eventually also for that almost massive demand for medium, small, and heavy lift helicopters in multi-role or in multiple ways for our armed forces. So I think we are also going into the direction of setting the stage.
Let me now...
Yeah. Sorry.
Brilliant. Let me now throw it open for a wider discussion. Ambassador Ashraf, joining me now on this broadcast, Ambassador Yash Sinha former High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, again somebody who watches India-Europe relationship very closely, and Air Marshal Anil Khosla, former Vice Chief of Air Staff, because remember, aviation, avionics, and that entire the aviation technology is an area where India and France are moving forward very, very closely. Ambassador Sinha, you wanted to come in on the India-France special strategic partnership, your reading of 2026 being year of innovation, cooperation in artificial intelligence for healthcare, and the conversations between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the French President Emmanuel Macron, sir.
Gaurav, thank you. I think my colleague Javed has already elaborated in great detail about the significance of this visit, and particularly in defense cooperation. But I find this visit very significant because sometimes, we concentrate far too much on the Anglosphere, and, the relationship with a country like France, which is vibrant, strong, and of long standing, goes under the radar. It's among the earliest strategic partnerships. I think it was 1998, was signed with France. And France, as Ambassador Ashraf mentioned, has stood by us during difficult times. I recall after our nuclear test in 98, when the West was basically imposing sanctions, France stood by us in many, and even during conflicts with Pakistan, etc. So I think it's a very significant visit. Very significant at this particular point of time when the world is in a flux, if to put it mildly, and we are confronted with very stark choices. And France is always a safe harbor, always a country that we can rely on, not only in terms of defense cooperation, but for political support and backing also. So I think this visit by President Macron, though for the AI summit, the bilateral segment in Mumbai that concluded today was extremely important in my point of view, and the cooperation in upskilling and in AI and in other areas are all sort of part of this very vibrant relationship between these two countries.
Very significant point, sir. Let me also bring in Air Marshal Khosla, former Vice Chief of Air Staff. And with the falling number of fighter jet squadrons, we are now down to maybe 30, 31 squadrons, some argue 29. The Rafale deal still in the works. Your reading, by when will we have the initial aircraft, and then by when do you see that Make in India take effect with the F-3s and then the upgraded version of F-4s, sir?
Yeah, Gaurav, although this is the first step which has been taken, it will take a long time because a lot of effort needs to be put into finally when the deal is signed and the results start showing. Technical evaluation. Firstly, the RFP has to be issued, and based on the response, then the thing needs to be finalized. The technical evaluation has to be done. Thereafter, the price negotiation, which takes quite a long time, and finally the CCS approval. And after that, the whole gambit starts. Maybe the first 18 aircraft which are supposed to be bought in a flyaway condition will come faster, and while they are being made in France and being delivered in parallel, I think the work will go on for technology transfer and setting up the production and assembly lines in India depending on the contract. So it will take some time, being optimistic. Maybe one year is very, very optimistic figure. Maybe 2 to 3 years, the production, the addition of the aircraft into the Indian Air Force may start at a gradual pace, and then the pace may pick up later.
Be that, given that situation, what would that mean for India's falling fighter jet squadrons? We are down to 30, 31, some argue maybe 29 operational. And if it takes another 3 to 4 to 5 years, by the time the aircraft start coming in, would this indicate that we would need a stopgap arrangement? And what would that stopgap arrangement then mean for India's AMCA project, for our fifth generation? Or is there no alternative to this now, Air Marshal Khosla?
Yeah, so Gaurav, you rightly said, the figures varying 29 to 30. I think, in my opinion, personal opinion, we have hit the lowest figure now. and from here it is a upward addition. The deal will definitely put brakes onto the drawdown, and I don't think we'll go down further. Now, as far as upscaling is concerned, that means the upward trajectory is concerned, it will not depend only on these 114 aircraft. It will be also dependent on how our indigenous production meets up our requirement, the pace at which we need induction of the indigenous aircraft, which I'm referring to. We already have 93 plus and 87 Mark 1As on order. Then the Mark 2 comes in, then the MCA comes in. It's very essential that these aircraft are produced in time so that this drawdown is stopped, and further it starts increasing in numbers to the requirement as far the Indian Air Force is concerned.
Okay, and given the situation, Ambassador Sinha, you've dealt with our partners in the United Kingdom. You've seen how we've had a situation with the United States on the G404 engines right from the time when we did the Pokhran nuclear tests, and that's the time our Sea King and Sea Harrier fleet, was grounded post Pokhran. And we still went in for the G404 engines, while they may have been the best given that situation. Do you foresee a stalling and adversely impacting India's LCA program, or do you see smooth sailing or touching the sky with glory in times to come on that, sir?
No, as the Air Marshal explained, and there's been a lot of delay in terms of replenishing our squadrons and our Air Force with the fighter aircraft. And I think we need to really do something about it. I think the government is serious, is doing something. And I think as far as the US is concerned, there have been delays. We are aware of those delays. I'm glad that at least as far as Safran is concerned, things are working, will hopefully work as per schedule. But I think we really need to pay attention to our defense requirements. And I think this year's budget has, of course, allocated funds for purchases, but I think we need to make those purchases because, our defense acquisition process has been rather, in the past at least, I recall, it has been extremely convoluted and it takes a lot of time. So if we can cut the red tape, because this is a dire requirement, and I think we are hopeful that this issue will be resolved sooner than later. And, our neighborhood is only getting more complex, and certainly we need to be prepared for any eventualities.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure the government is working in that direction. And I think you need trustworthy partners, because if you can't trust a partner, especially for supply of defense equipment, then I think the whole point of having this the strategic partnership is sort of comes up for debate. So I think as far as France is concerned, I think by and large they have been meeting their commitments, and I do hope President Macron's visit will further ensure that our already robust partnership will go from strength to strength, as the Prime Minister described in his press conference earlier today, from the depths of the ocean to the highest mountain, to Mount Everest, etc. So I do hope that with the very close links that bind India and France are further strengthened by this visit, and not just in defense, as I said, but in other areas too. I think over 20 agreements and MOUs have been concluded today. And I think these are extremely significant, particularly signed during the times that we live in today, right now.
From artificial intelligence to upskilling in aviation to ecology to small nuclear reactors, modular nuclear reactors. Ambassador Javed, Ashraf, you wanted to come in last 30 seconds that I have on this part of the show.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, this relationship is way beyond just defense. And one example of this is our convergence on both the public character and purpose, as well as open source nature of artificial intelligence. This is the building block of power, competitiveness, and leadership in the 21st century. And it is very important for India, France, India, and Europe to work together to prevent the emergence of a global duopoly in power between China and the United States, and to work for a world that is more inclusive and equal, and not lead to increased concentration of power in the hands of either two countries or a few companies. And I think this is a very important development, as is also, by the way, as a startling figure is that over the past several years, the stock of FDI investment from France into India is the highest in Indo-Pacific, and it stands at 373%. So it's a very complete relationship. And sometimes what we are doing in the defense space often overshadows some of the other strengths and of the relationship. So I think these MOUs that you are seeing today are a reflection of the kind of wide-ranging nature of the relationship. As I said, we are both wedded to the idea of a multipolar world anchored in rule of law and multilateralism, and based on a sense of strategic autonomy. This is the guiding principle for us going forward.
Oh, absolutely. And this is something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the French President Emmanuel Macron also emphasized on. Rules-based order. You cannot have either America or China dictate to the rest of the world and expect them to kowtow to a duopoly, as Ambassador Javed Ashraf said. I want to thank all my guests. There's breaking news that's coming in on the India-Bangladesh front. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has written to the newly sworn-in Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Tariq Rahman. He's congratulated Tariq Rahman on taking over. He's invited Tariq Rahman to India along with his wife, Dr. Zubeda Rahman, and daughter Zaima at a mutually convenient time. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote to the new Bangladesh Prime Minister Tariq Rahman saying, and I quote, "I look forward to working closely with you to strengthen our multifaceted bilateral relations, enhance regional cooperation and advance our common goals in wide-ranging areas of connectivity, trade, technology, education, skill development, energy, healthcare, as well as cultural and people-to-people exchanges." Remember, people-to-people exchanges between India and Bangladesh remain extremely strong, and we'll be tracking the story very closely. There's lots happening in Bangladesh. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan is languishing in Adiala Jail. His lawyers, his doctors, his family, they've said he's lost 85% sight in one eye, and they allege he's not getting effective and proper medical treatment. He was sent to Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences late in the night under a cloak of secrecy, where he was examined, but apparently his family says there isn't enough or proper medical attention that's given to him. PIMS doesn't have the equipment. 14 cricketing greats from across the world, including Sunil Gavaskar, Kapil Dev, Steve Waugh, Clive Lloyd, they've written to the Pakistan government saying he's not only a very popular elected leader, he's the former Prime Minister, he's the 1992 World Cup winning captain, he should get better treatment. There's much more. Is this one subtle indictment of the Asif Munir regime and the condition in which Imran Khan has been kept in? We get you more in this report.
इनको करना ही करवाना ही पड़ेगा इमरान खान का इलाज अपने डॉक्टर की मौजूदगी में.
Pakistan government's most powerful opponent is behind bars, and now he's losing eyesight. This is not about health, but about power. Imran Khan, jailed since 2023, has reportedly lost up to 85% vision in one eye. For supporters of Khan, who is lodged in Adiala Jail, this is not a medical footnote. It is a symbol of a system where rivals are silenced.
जो खान साहब की आंख का इन्होंने किया है, खान साहब की बनाई गई है, खान साहब की आंख ज़ाया होने वाली है, उस वजह से हम ये प्रोटेस्ट तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इसका मेन मकसद खान साहब की रिहाई है. खान साहब की आंख में ब्लड क्लॉट आया हुआ है जो इनकी मिसमैनेजमेंट है.
Khan says he complained of blurred vision for months. His lawyers alleged treatment came late after courts ordered medical examinations.
अभी मामला सीरियस है. जो कल की रिपोर्ट, खुद साख्ता रिपोर्ट इन्होंने जो जारी की है, उसमें भी बताया गया है कि इमरान खान साहब की आंख रिकवर कर रही है. तो इसका मतलब यह है कि इमरान खान साहब की आंख खराब की गई थी. खराब क्यों हुई थी, ये सवाल जो है हमेशा रहेगा. पाकिस्तान तहरीक इंसाफ का भी रहेगा, पूरे पाकिस्तानी अवाम का भी रहेगा. अभी इलाज चल रहा है, वो इमरान खान साहब के ज़ाती डॉक्टर्स और उनकी फैमिली मेंबर की गैर मौजूदगी में चल रहा है, जो शक व शुबहात मजीद बढ़ा रहा है. तो मेरे ख्याल में जो नाजायज़ हुकूमत है उनको भी, जो इनको लाए उनको भी.
The Pakistan government now claims his eyesight is improving. A medical board says treatment has helped. But Khan's personal doctor says he cannot confirm this because he has not been allowed direct access. The family is not convinced. Khan's sisters blame the military leadership.
हमें क्या पता आप जैसे अंदर क्या लिखवा दें, कल हमें बता दें प्लेटलेट्स का बता दें, कुछ भी लिख के दे दें रिपोर्टों में। हमारे डॉक्टर्स की मौजूदगी में हम आप पे एतबार नहीं करते, आप झूठे लोग हैं, आप डरपोक हैं, आप गीदड़ हैं और आपका खौफ और बढ़ाएंगे हम।
Khan's son are now seeking visas to visit their father, fearing his health is slipping inside prison walls. And the matter has gone global, from Sunil Gavaskar and Kapil to Steve Waugh, Clive Lloyd, Greg Chappell. 14 former international captains appealed to Pakistan to provide immediate independent medical care, humane detention and family access. As concerns of isolation and restricted access rise, critics say this reflects a broader shift. With Munir's growing authority and civilian oversight shrinking, accountability is eroding. This is new Pakistan under Munir, where power holds key and opponents pay the price. Bureau Report, India Today.
And there's breaking news coming in. India's former cricketing great Sunil Gavaskar, he's just reacted to this. Sunil Gavaskar has spoken exclusively to India Today's Nikhil Naz, and Sunil Gavaskar says medical attention must be given to Imran Khan. Whatever is the legal procedure must happen, but not at the cost of medical treatment or words to that effect. Let's listen in to this India Today World exclusive.
14 former captains, cricket captains, have come together to write an appeal to the Pakistan government to give to Imran Khan a fair treatment. One of those 14 captains joins us right now in Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. Saiva, I know you and Imran Khan go back a long way, and it's great to see the cricketing community come together. But Imran has been there in jail for close to 3 years now. What prompted all of you legends to get together and write this appeal?
Yes, Nikhil. I've known Imran since India played against Worcester way back in 1971. He was just a 17-year-old trying to qualify as an overseas player for Worcester. And since then, we've played against each other. We've captained our countries against each other and got to know each other very well, fairly well. And therefore, to see, the news coming out about, the health problems that he's had because of inadequate medical treatment certainly, made me want to join the appeal for asking that, a proper humanitarian treatment be given to him. We're not trying to enter into any political discussion over here, the captains. We just want that political differences aside, a humanitarian view should be taken. And not to forget that he is a hero in Pakistan. He's, one of the rare cricketers who's world famous. Not every cricketer is world famous, and he's put Pakistan's name on the world map with his exploits on the field. So clearly, I think he deserves a lot of human treatment and proper treatment so that, he gets better. Then, whatever the legal proceedings have to take place, they can take place, but at least make sure that he is in very good medical hands.
Joining me now on this India Today special broadcast, Abdullah Hamid Gul is chairman of Javanan Party, joins us from Pakistan. Vikrant Gupta, our sports editor, with us on this broadcast. Sushant Sareen, senior fellow at the Observer Research Foundation, with us. Vikrant, are you surprised not a single Pakistan former captain is standing up for Imran Khan or writing not in this list of 14? Or is that fear of Field Marshal Munir?
No, I'm not surprised, Gaurav, at all. I'm sad. I'm disappointed. Again, people would say Imran Khan is a Pakistani. On the field, his sole ambition was to beat India. And when he became the Prime Minister, obviously, he wasn't very pro-India. But leaving everything aside, I must tell you that he's one of the very few Pakistanis, Gaurav, who spent a lot of time in India. I think Adnan Sami, Salma Aga, and perhaps that female who got married in UP, Imran would have to be the fourth Pakistani to spend as many days, as many nights in India. He was somebody who knew India inside out. And, leaving everything aside, in good old days, when cricket was cricket, people like Gavaskar, Zahir Abbas, Kapil Dev, Imran Khan, they did belong to the respective countries, but people would also say that they're the pride of the Asians. Why? Because Asia versus the Western world wasn't really a cricketing power. I am not surprised, like I said. It's just that we all know which way that country is heading. Hamid Gul Saab will disagree with me. I'm
So let me
nobody
quickly
to
bring in.
get into a debate with him. But the fact is, it is so sad. It is so sad. And it is not today. Gaurav, it is not today. The day the news came out, the day it was leaked that he lost his vision, even that day, nobody stood up for him. Somebody who's brought so much for that country. I'm an Indian.
85%
I don't
who's
bother.
lost 85% vision. So let me bring in Abdullah Hamid Gul. Let me bring in Abdullah Hamid Gul quickly into this conversation in the limited time that we have. Abdullah Hamid Gul, are you shocked not a single Pakistani cricketing great standing with Imran Khan on this, not signing that letter because it's all about the might of the Pakistan army? Nobody cares for Imran Khan?
Well, thank you very much, Gaurav Saab, for inviting me to your show. Well, I am very happy and delighted, honestly, deeply touched that how Indian media is supporting former Pakistani cricketer and the Prime Minister, and the love you have shown for Pakistani cricketer is, admirable. I wish this could have been shown when he was the Prime Minister of Pakistan, but unfortunately at that time, totally you had a different line of action. But now, Alhamdulillah, well, I think the reports which were shown in the beginning were 2 days old. Now the Supreme Court has already ordered, and the government has put in a formal report to Supreme Court, and that says that one eye is 6/6, and the other eye, after getting the treatment, it has gone better, and it is now getting better, and 0.75 spectacles are suggested to Mr. Khan. Well, I totally agree that it was delayed action. It should not have taken place like this. It should have done earlier because as the Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Sohail Khan Afridi, is saying that he is getting better, but this should have been done earlier. On the other hand, this is very important that the government is also naturally, they have their own personal vendetta against, the former leadership of the political parties. This what happened in the days of Mr. Imran Khan. We have seen how Mr. Nawaz Sharif was being criticized by him, the way they were treated, and it is a public thing which can be seen anywhere on the social media. However, I do not say that it is justified. I say that the treatment, medical treatment, is the right of everyone. As far as the cricketers are concerned, that they have not shown up, I think they have already spoken to the authorities, but it has not been done so openly for reasons whatever they are. But I believe that actually
Let me quickly
all
bring
the
in
cricketers.
Sushant Sareen and Vikrant Gupta to respond to you. Okay, give me a moment, because Sushant Sareen, it's not India showing love for Imran Khan. It's 14 cricketing greats from across the world. No, and Abdullah Hamid Gul Saab, there's Clive Lloyd, who's here. There's Steve Waugh, who's here amongst the 14. And Sushant Sareen, that's something that Pakistan cannot ignore. It's actually an indictment, isn't it, of Asim Munir and his establishment, Sushant?
Yes, it is. But I think most of these former captains have misdirected their appeal. They've written to the government of Pakistan, which is worth nothing to nobody. There is nothing in the hands of the government of Pakistan. It's a lame duck. It's people who had lost an election, who had been picked up and who have been installed in office because they were all opposed to Imran. Second, the judiciary is dead in Pakistan. Everybody knows it. And in fact, Mr. Gul out here himself was saying that there is no rule of law in Pakistan. Otherwise, this is not something, right? This is something that the judiciary decides, but the judiciary is, again, it's gone, it's finished, it's zero. So the man who is going to call the shots has a personal vendetta against Imran Khan. That is Asim Munir. He is a vicious fellow, just like Imran was a vicious guy. And incidentally, Mr. Gul has been very eloquent and saying that the Indians are talking very well of Imran Khan. Well, I never did. Vikrant might have. But the fact of the matter is that even people like Mr. Gul were talking very highly of Imran Khan while he was in power. And now that he's out of power, they don't consider him to be a great guy. So, yeah, that is, we are all Suryavanshis out here. We all worship the rising sun. And nobody bothers about the guy who is in jail. So that is the culture in that part of the world. So it's fine. That's entirely understandable. But look, let's face it. The fact of the matter is the reason why Imran Khan was not given proper medical treatment was because the jailers had been given instructions by military minders of Imran Khan sitting in the jail that Imran is probably acting. Just put some eye drops in his eyes and that's it. There'll be no relief given to him. It's only when things went out of control that they panicked and they were forced to take him to hospital, and then that also under cover of darkness, and then take him back
in the
to
middle
jail.
of the night.
Now now the reports come out that look,
so let me bring in Vikrant. Yeah, let me also quickly bring in Vikrant, because Vikrant, it's very clear that it's not India suddenly finding love for Imran Khan. It's 14 cricketing greats who are saying that something should be done, and not one Pakistani there, even though Abdullah Hamid Gul Saab says that, they're speaking in private to the administration.
You know what? I tweeted this, Gaurav, and then there were a few Pakistanis who said, "Aapke India mein himmat hai." So the point they were making is, you can't be living in a country and taking on the establishment. He said, "Aapke India mein bhi kaun si himmat hai?" So I said, "Hamare India mein himmat hai ki nahi hai? I don't know. The Gaurav Sawant will tell you. But the fact is, we in India have never ever treated our national heroes like this. It cannot. It has to be a Rajnikant movie, to be very honest. If Mr. Khan, at the age of 73, 74, regains his eyesight, it becomes 6/6 overnight. It's got to be one of the greatest medical miracles. I think we need to find out, Gaurav, from the doctors attending him, what eye drops did they give to Imran Khan, that is eyesight, wherein they said he's lost his vision. It is only 15% now, but he is perfectly normal. So we need to just find out the eye drops, because all these days on the cricketing field, all that I was seeing was the
Abdullah Hamid Gul Saab can enlighten
the children
us.
they were selling. Now I just want those eye drops. I also am 53. If I could use those eye drops, maybe I could also get my eyesight improved.
Okay, Abdullah Hamid Gul Saab, first it was the churan and now it is eye drops. Would you want to weigh in on this?
I believe that I think you must learn and read about it, because it is very clearly written in the Supreme Court. The government has already, they have sent a report, and it clearly says that an injection was given, and then the eyesight has started improving, and that's what Mr. Qasim and Salman, the sons of Mr. Khan, they have spoken to their father, and that's what he also said to them. So this is not just the eye drop, number one. Then Mr. Sushant said that I was, praising Imran Khan. So please do quote me when he was in the government. Just one incident where I have praised his government. So I never praised, because I am always with the state of Pakistan. As far as the reports are concerned, there are lots of speculation. Like if you go back to the Indian occupied Kashmir, former governor Satyapal Malik. So what was it said? That
there is nothing called India occupied Kashmir. I am sorry, sir. This is where we have to come in. Kashmir belongs to India. It's Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and hopefully in your lifetime and mine, it will come back to India. So you don't worry about that. There is nothing called India occupied Kashmir. I have to correct you and stop you there. This is where it has to come in. But, Sushant, it also remains where that injection was given to Imran Khan. Because you lie. I cannot let you lie on air. And that is why, the problem with Pakistanis is they cannot face the truth about what's happening in their own country. They will just, come with a conspiracy on the other side. The fact remains, Imran Khan, a popular former Prime Minister of Pakistan, is in jail. And Asim Munir will not let him survive. It is known. Abdullah Hamid Gul also knows that. In case Imran Khan comes out of jail, Sushant Sareen, the last 30 seconds that I have, Asim Munir will not survive, and he knows that. Sushant Sareen.
Quite clearly, because Asim Munir, despite all the gymnastics he has done and all the media that he has tried to, attention he's tried to gain, is not a popular figure. There is, and if anybody in the Pakistan army thinks that Asim Munir is the greatest general in Islamic history, then they're welcome to think it. But then he should stand up in an election against Imran Khan, and he'll get to know how popular or unpopular he is. Forget Asim Munir. Nawaz Sharif had lost his election. Shahbaz Sharif had lost his election. These are all people who are the products of rigging. They are running the government now. They're literally, like I say, I used to use the word chapadasi. Somebody told me that more appropriate term is Naib Qasid.
No. So Form 47. Absolutely. These are all Form 47 leaders of Pakistan chosen by the Pakistan army. And I'm sorry I've run out of time on this part of the show, but I want every Pakistani to know it is Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, including Gilgit and Baltistan. And there is a parliament resolution. India will take it back. India will get it back because the people there are already rising against the atrocities of the Pakistani state and the people of Balochistan. That is something we'll be tracking very closely.